Hi again, everybody. Always works better when you turn the microphones up. Welcome to this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. I am Dan Scott, the voice of the Paladins, and as always, it's an extreme pleasure to be spending some time with you and spending some time with our weekly guests. We try to give you the broad spectrum of what's going on inside Furman's athletic department, and today, literally and figuratively, and I am not one to pass up a good pun, teed up for you today, we have Matt Davidson of the men's golf program. How you doing?
Thanks, Dan. Doing well. Yeah, it's an exciting week.
Yeah, it's been a good fall for you so far, which we're going to talk about, and a huge weekend for your program, which we're also going to spend some time on.
Yeah, it's been a great fall. We started out in Minnesota with a very strong event, sixth place up there, and then third place at Wake Forest event. Almost pulled that one off. We were right in the mix until the very end with Wake Forest on their home course, which is obviously some pretty strong company. And then played great in Dallas at SMU's event, came in fourth, and then sixth place last week at ETSU. A little bit of a rough last couple holes there. I think we were sitting in about fourth or fifth place with a couple holes left, but still a strong event. So it's been a good fall. Ranking wise, I think we're 47th right now, which is highest we've been in a long time, maybe ever, to be honest.
Really?
Top ranked team in South Carolina, which is always pretty good. It's early, but got teams like Clemson, South Carolina, and College of Charleston in the state. It's always pretty nice.
It's an incredible story of the proverbial phoenix rising from the ashes with what was going to happen to this program a number of years ago until some people stepped up and rallied around it. And we may talk about how that rallying continues as we go on. I want to go back, though, to playing golf in Minnesota. If you're going to play Minnesota, you got to play
Better be.
September 11th. I mean, that's still getting a little late in Minnesota for golf, right?
Yeah, it was perfect. We've been there
Really?
the last 2 years. They always play at the beginning of September, and we've gotten lucky with the weather both years. So lows in the mid 50s, high with that time of year feels pretty good when you're coming from here, and highs get up into the lower mid 70s. It's pretty ideal.
Not going to be playing any November matches in Minnesota, right?
No, you're probably not even going to want to play now. But yeah, September, beginning of September is perfect.
What has been the overriding factor for this team that has enabled you to play so well this fall?
Yeah, so I'd say two things. Will Moreland has had a fantastic fall. I think he's about 65th in those national rankings, which individually is rarefied air for us for sure. He's averaging under 70, has a win at Wake Forest, has a third place finish, so he's led the way. And then Sam Lape has played great. Walker Crosby also has played really well. He had a second place finish at the Dallas event. And then Ross Funderburk, who had a great year for us last year, has also played well. And, he was leading the way at ETSU. So I'd say Will leading the way, and then those other three guys, especially Sam and Walker and Ross here of late, all stepping up at different times too. Like it seems like we have four guys, and we've got talented guys that have filled in that fifth spot and maybe not performed quite as well as they would have liked when they got the chance. But definitely got some talent that can fill in that five spot. But those four guys all having the ability to shoot, mid 60 type rounds and play well. They're kind of pretty interchangeable, which has been nice.
All four of those guys have a stroke average of under 72 over 12 rounds. How uncommon is it to have four players at the Division I level who have that stroke average?
Yeah, I mean that's what kind of the top 50 teams in the nation have. They've got more guys. I know in the past we've had it was Keller, and then Keller and Jack and Ross last year, and you've had a couple guys, one or two guys that are in that range. But to have Will under 70, and then Sam playing great under 71, and then those other two guys right around 71.5. It's we hadn't had four guys kind of like that, I don't think since, not that I can remember at least.
What was Matt Davidson's collegiate stroke average?
It was at the time it was pretty impressive, but I think my best years I had a couple like right around 72. So these guys now, I think, like all sports, athletes are getting a technically a little better, a little stronger, a little faster. Golf course conditions, equipment, stroke averages across the nation are a lot lower than they were when I was playing.
How much? I mean, and it's not like we're talking eons ago since you played.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have been playing. You played professionally recently, right before you joined the staff here.
Yeah.
So, but just in the last decade, how has equipment changed?
So I would say equipment changed probably a bunch, about 8 to 10. It changed a lot when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
We went from the golf ball changed enormously when I was in college. So that was a huge jump, even when I was playing. And then, I'd say that the driver heads, a lot faster. Balls coming off a lot faster, a lot bigger, lighter. That was all last 6 or 7 years. And then a lot of the technology with how people are teaching guys to hit it as far as they can and maximize their swing, and track men and things that measure that sort of thing. That I think they're just people are learning how to hit a golf ball really far from an earlier age.
Yeah, and some technology and facilities now that you can take advantage of here on campus too, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a track man ourselves in our teaching facility, and we definitely use it. Not always just for distance, but for obviously swing technique and distance control and things like that too. But it's helping guys hit the ball further.
Are you a fan of the history of your sport?
I am.
And the reason I ask that question is because we're talking about all of the advances in technology and what they've done with the ball. And you talked about the driver heads. The heads are humongous, and yet they're so much lighter, which, from a baseball terminology, you're talking about bat speed. How quickly can you get the club from here to here, or the bat from here into the hitting zone? Does it make you appreciate the legends, the Bobby Jones, Sam Sneads, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, guys who were, their 4 woods were actually woods, and that kind of thing. When you look at how equipment is done now and what those guys were playing with and did what they did, does it make you appreciate what they did even more?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And if those guys had the equipment we had now, I mean, they probably would maybe swing it a little differently, but they'd certainly be just as good on a. I just think you get. In all sports, I guess, and some more than others, you need to probably compare people based on their, the time where they were playing, their generation. And those guys were obviously, best in the world, and they'd be the best in the world now if they were playing with this equipment. They'd probably be swinging a hair different with their driver and doing some things differently, and like we've learned a few things through the years, but they'd be just as good.
What's been the biggest difference in the ball? You talked about that was the main thing that happened 8 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, they used to be any good player would play a wound ball with a really soft cover, spins a lot, so the ball could kind of stay airborne, but it would curve a little bit more. It was great around the greens and things like that. And then your only choice was either that or like a rock hard, type ball that would go pretty far, but you had no spin or touch or feel with it. And then they came out with Titleist came out with the Pro V1, which was a, rubber hard, core and soft cover, and kind of maximized the combination of the, distance and the spin. And that was the massive jump with the golf ball. That was when I was in college. I feel like that was probably about in 2002 or 2003. And then since then, just shafts and driver heads and iron lofts going down. And then, like I said, the way guys are swinging it with TrackMan and even, tracking the different forces they put into the ground when they're swinging and things like that. I mean, it can get pretty technical, but they know now, like, kind of what most of the guys do that really produce a lot of speed. A lot of guys teach that now.
All of the technology that's available and the equipment gains and all of those leaps forward are fine, but if you're a bad golfer, none of that stuff's going to help you, right? You still have to learn how to play the game the right way.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the thing with it. As far as you want to hit it, if you're hitting it out of bounds and spraying it around, I mean, you can't play. So it's really, you've at this level, especially professionally or this high, D1 level, it does, you do have to hit your driver out there, a certain distance and pretty far, but doesn't do any good unless you're keeping it between the tree line.
So I would imagine then, and we're visiting with Matt Davidson, men's golf, on this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. I would imagine then that along with all of these things we're talking about, not only are we seeing the improvements at the Division I level, but obviously at the junior golf levels, high school, and all the other things, because you've got a sophomore. You mentioned Will Moreland, who's leading your team with a 69.2 stroke average. Young guy.
Yeah.
He didn't learn how to do that just when he got here. He had to be a pretty good golfer by the time he walked onto this campus, and obviously going to improve as he gets older and that kind of thing. But I would imagine you're seeing all of these things trickle down into the junior golf range where the kids are getting better and better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more of them playing, a deeper pool, of junior golfers, and then also the good junior golfers now are doing things at a professional level that, physically and things like that you didn't see much when I was playing, 20 years ago.
Has it all been good for the sport, you think?
I think so. It's definitely made it it's made more parity, I would say. More people can do things well when everybody has that, access to the equipment and the technology, and it is I think it's easier to hit a driver, swing that fast and hit a straighter now with the forgiving club faces and things like that. So it's probably leveled the playing field. It's probably made the little things even a little more important, making putts, course management, things like that. It's definitely I'm sure it was a pretty fine line back then, but I think now it's a super razor thin line between, winning and losing and, keeping your card in the PGA Tour, not keeping your card.
So are those the things you find yourself concentrating more on now as a head coach, is course management and doing those little things?
Yeah, I mean, at the college level, we do. I mean, there is a wide range of physical abilities too. Mm-hmm. It's not like this isn't. It's a pyramid that gets pretty narrow at the top on the PGA Tour. So those guys are all splitting hairs, and obviously here it's a wider base to that pyramid. So we do. There's certainly a lot of basic skills, wedges, short game, tightening it up off the tee, like things like that. But obviously once the guys keep getting better at that sort of things, course management, tournament preparation, that becomes huge. Absolutely once we're playing in tournaments, for sure.
Is the old cliche that even those of us who are non-golfers know still apply? Drive for show, putt for dough. Does that still apply?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say that the driver, with as far as they're hitting it, if they are hitting it straight, it has become quite a weapon for sure. But yeah, you have to, like I said, you still have to drive it. Not in trouble. Mm-hmm. Maybe hopefully hit fairways, but at least keep it between the tree lines, and you got to make putts. Yeah.
What's the most important club in the bag?
It would be driver, putter. I mean, it's hard not to say driver because you definitely have. You see guys that start struggling off the tee and hitting it waywards, and you really can't play. You just can't play from there. And you can hit it great and be a pretty mediocre putter and still play pretty solid golf. So it would be one of those two. Maybe the driver a little bit, just because it's an end game if you're hitting that one all over the place. But yeah, driver, putter.
That's interesting. Again, I haven't picked up a golf club in probably 10 years. And I never was a huge golfer, but in talking with some people, I always hear them talking about their short game. That's what they're concentrating on the short game, which would have led me to believe that maybe one of the wedges or the pitching wedge would have been in that conversation somewhere.
Incredibly important too, because you're not going to hit every green.
So no, there's not an unimportant club in the bag, right?
Right. I went with the ones you use more often because you can, you're not going to use your wedges quite as often as your putter. Or your tee shot, your driver, three, whatever you want to hit off your tee. But next in line would be some sort of wedge, or you got to get balls up and down for sure.
That's why you carry all those clubs in that bag, right?
Yeah. You got to be good with your wedges too.
Matt Davidson with us. We're talking about the Furman golf program, men's golf program, on this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. Talked a little bit about where this program has come in the last number of years and the incredible support that you've gotten from people to resuscitate it, sustain it, and now moving it forward. And you think of guys right from the very beginning like Brad Faxon. He's the first name that comes to mind. But you have been working hard to make sure that this program is going to be not just good now, but it's going to be sustainable for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we've had so many people help out and incredibly meaningful ways, obviously financially, but also with just effort and time and passion towards it. Like you said, it started with Brad Faxon and Frank Ford and Rob Langley, Fred Stubblefield, T.J. Blanford, Jeff Deloach. There's a lot of people that were in that core group that helped us out a lot, and even recently, Rob Langley and Scott Brown and Jordan Clark and some people made some incredibly meaningful gifts that keep keep helping us out enormously now with scholarships, and we're moving obviously in the right direction. We're getting close to the fully funded finish line, but yeah, it's been 5-7 years of work from a lot of generosity and a lot of work from a lot of people.
Well, what does that mean to you? What does that say to you about what this program means to its alumni?
It's incredible. It is, and being an alum myself, it's I feel the same way as the people that are helping us out. Like it was a special place to go to school. It's a incredible combination of academics and golf and athletics, and I think it speaks to the experience everyone had as a Furman men's golfer too. They had a great experience on the team and had a lot of fun and learned a lot and worked hard, and all sort of life skills that obviously people feel important to pass it forward and pass it on.
Not just an alum, by the way, as you can see on your screen, Furman Hall of Famer, was part of the 2018 inductee class, and I know you are very humble about that, and it's legitimate. At the same time, and we may have broached this subject before, but I think it bears repeating again, that's got to carry some weight when you go out recruiting.
Yeah, the professional golf experience probably more so than anything. I know that I'm incredibly proud to be in the Furman Athletics Hall of Fame, and that's quite a high bar. I don't think people realize how few athletes here get in that each year. You really do have to excel at your sport, but I take a lot of pride in what I did for 13 years after that, professionally, and playing at a high level and having that 1 year on the PGA Tour. So it usually helps when that comes up in the recruiting process for sure.
Street cred, do the kids still use the phrase street cred? I mean, if they do, you got it.
Yeah, I need to keep working on my game, so when I go out there and play with them, I still can have that street cred. But what that that level I was playing at, it's the Korn Ferry Tour now, and then also having that year in the PGA Tours, it's not getting any easier to do that either. It's gotten awfully competitive, so I'm proud of those years I put in out there.
Do you do that often? Do you get out and play with your guys often?
I do. I haven't done it a whole lot in season. They do a lot of qualifying, and they're playing against each other, and then they're obviously going to tournaments and playing. So I've probably played 3 or 4 times this fall, but once we get in the off season, I like to play a little more with them.
You just is it to remind them or to remind you that you can still do it?
It's a little. I try to just do it to remind them, honestly. but yeah, it's getting harder. I gotta keep my game pretty sharp. They're awfully good.
Well, that's good though. I mean, you challenge them; they're challenging you. It's mutually beneficial, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's good.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so let's talk about this weekend before we wrap it up, because it's one time a year. Huge weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're recording this on Tuesday and dropping it on Tuesday the 18th. So it's this Saturday and Sunday here at the Furman Golf Course. How many teams are coming in? What's the field going to look like? 15
teams, including us. Pretty solid. This is the first year we've moved it to the fall. We've had in the spring for years and years, and I was a little worried about how that would affect the field, because a lot of teams, find a tournament they like and they lock it in and they go there every year on that same date. But it actually made the field, I'd say, a little bit stronger. So a lot of good mid majors. Coastal Carolina, Chattanooga was very they just won at NC State last week, so they'll be strong. Campbell is always a good strong team. Davidson, Richmond. A lot of good mid-major. Virginia Tech was a very talented ACC team, so it'll be good. It's always nice playing on your home course, though, and we obviously have a strong team as well. So I think if the guys play well, we should be right in the mix. But yeah, it'll be a fun weekend.
Is there such a thing as a home course advantage?
There is, yeah. It's I would say in golf probably more so than any other sport. Really, just at Furman, a lot of it for our guys is knowing the greens. A lot of false edges and false fronts, and they know where they need to be to certain hole locations, and we'll have the hole locations pretty tucked. So hopefully that knowledge will come in handy, and a little tough to read at times too. So everybody's just you got to hit solid shots off the tee and into the greens. But I think on or around the greens will be a pretty good advantage.
It's just those little nuances.
Nuances. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's hopefully it adds 4 guys counting out of 5 players over the course of 3 rounds. You'd hope those a little shot here, a little shot there, it adds up.
We'll get to the times and what fans can do here in just a minute.
Yep.
But I want to circle back to something else you said as you were running through the tournament field there. I did not hear the names Clemson and South Carolina, and you mentioned a moment ago that Furman is the top ranked men's golf program in the state of South Carolina. And when in any sport, when you're talking about rankings in the state of South Carolina, those are the 2 schools that immediately come to mind because they're the Power 5 schools.
Yep.
And yet we see in a number of our sports here that Furman's athletes are competing at or at an even higher level a lot of times in those schools. Is that a point of pride for you?
It is. I will say so. It's early in the season.
Yeah, I get that, but you got to strike while the iron's hot, baby. Come on.
I know. I think, but in the golf stat ranking, which is the one we all go by, we're 47 right now, and those guys are right behind. I mean, Clemson's got a historic program. They're normally up in the top 15 and top 20, so I'm sure they'll get it rolling this year for sure. College of Charleston's also always strong. Coastal Carolina's had a great programs as well. So it's a tough state. So whenever you see that and you happen to be, it's a point of pride. And I'm not sure it's happened for us in quite a while, just because of how strong Clemson, South Carolina, and College of Charleston, Coastal Carolina normally are.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Coastal. If you have a school at Myrtle Beach, how can you not be good at golf?
They're usually good. Yeah, Dustin Johnson played there. He's a pretty good player.
Not bad at all. And of course, you mentioned Clemson, Larry Penley, who retired. Was a long time friend of mine. Just an incredible guy. So I mean, obviously their program's in a little bit of change, but still, the ranking is what it is right now.
Right now.
So you take it and you run with it, right?
I have a ton of respect for obviously those programs and those coaches, and they like I said, it's a long season, so I'm not gonna go overboard. But as long as you ask, we'll discuss.
There you go. But see,
technically right now,
behind the scenes, this is where you go to your program supporters and say, "Look, here we are. Look,
exactly.
we're ahead of those guys now. You want to write that check now? Maybe we'll continue to go further."
That's right.
Strike while the iron is hot.
Behind the scenes, I like it. Yep.
So, what are the logistics of the tournament this weekend as we wrap it up for fans who want to come in and watch what's going on? Who's going off when? What will the format be? How does it work?
Yeah, so it's 36 holes on Saturday, and it's an 8:30 a.m. shotgun. So we'll basically be out there playing golf from 8:30 to 6:30 that night, and it's continuous play. There's about 84 golfers out there, and they just keep on going. We hand them the box lunch, after the first 18, and they've got snacks and they're hydrated, and they just keep grinding till the end. And our guys are pretty used to it. We do play a lot of 36-hole days, so it's a long day, but they're accustomed to it now. And Furman's not a tough course to walk. It's a pretty easy walk, pretty flat. So we'll be as prepared as anyone for that. And then just 18 holes the next morning. Tee times will be from 8:20 to 10:30. So if we play well, you repair after the 36-hole day. So if we play well, hopefully we'll be going off in that last wave off number 1 right about 9:50 to 10:30 and finish in around 3:30 Sunday afternoon, hopefully right on the 18th green with an exciting finish.
One of the things that most people don't see, and you mentioned you're going to have about 84 golfers on the course on Saturday from, what'd you say, 8:30 in the morning until about 6:30 in the afternoon. They all leave, and then the grounds crew has to come out and they have to fix all the damage that was done on the course before the next morning, right?
Yeah, Paul Brandenburg at Furman they got a task ahead of them, and they're really thankful that they're taking this on and do a great job. So they're gonna get an entire golf course ready too when you do a shotgun like that. A lot of times when it's tee times, you need to stay ahead and get the course prepared, but mowing all the greens, cutting the holes, blowing leaves, doing
and
it
then
all.
working
So
late into the
really
night repairing what needs to be repaired,
thankful for that, without a doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do a great job.
It's kind of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that
Absolutely.
Fans don't
Yeah.
think about. Those of us in my business and specifically in the sports that I broadcast, I usually get someplace about 3 hours before.
Yeah.
And I see things that people don't see, and whether it's in an arena or on a football field or whatever the case may be. I think sometimes we're not quick enough to tip our cap to those people, because they're going to be working their rear ends off.
And the golf course staff too, Tim Eckstein, John Allen, all the guys in the pro shop, and SIDs, Julie, Bree, and Sports Med, Jeremy, everybody chipping in, which was a pretty long 3 days really for the golf course, 2 or 3 days for everybody really. And
then all you have to do is go win.
That's right. Yeah. I'm gonna do as much as I can beforehand too. James, my assistant coach James Bartley, he does an awesome job, and we certainly do the a lot of the planning for the tournament and things like that. And then we hope that once we get rolling at 8:30, then we can actually turn into coaches and do it. It's always going to be some more. You got to be wearing more hats than you would when you're at an opposing team's tournament, but we'll be able to do a lot of coaching, I think.
Better than not having the tournament, though, right? I mean, it's a big deal to have.
It's great to have your home tournament. Yeah, absolutely. It gives all our guys a chance to play as well. So we've 12 guys in the team. One of them, Harris Barth, is out with an injury right now, so we'll have 11 guys playing. 6 of them as individuals, and 5 of them in the lineup. So it's a chance for everybody to play, and it's a chance for them to play on campus in front of their friends, and tons of family coming in. So it's important to have it.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It is.
Sorry, I'm going to be in Lexington, Virginia, but I'm sure I'll hear all the reports
of
everything that goes on. Anything else that we haven't covered?
I don't think so. Yeah, just if anybody's around, for those not going to Lexington and want to come watch a little golf.
So 8:30 on Saturday here at the Furman Golf Course.
Yeah, and it'll be going on all day. We're gonna we're going off holes 1, 2, and 3 at 8:30. So we're probably making the turn in the 10 to 11 o'clock frame, where our guys will be making the turn from 9 to 10, and then we'll be finishing up that morning rounds in the 1 to 12:30 to 1:30 range on 18 there. So
and then doing it again.
Doing it again. So if anybody wants to stay around 9 and 18, that's a strategy. And if you want to just go find the Furman guys and walk the cart pass, that's always fun too.
Good stuff. Yep. It's always good to catch up with you.
Thanks, Dan.
And continued good luck as we move forward.
Thank you.
That is Matt Davidson again. The Furman Invitational is this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday at Furman University's golf course, starting with the shotgun start at 8:30 on Saturday. 36 holes on Saturday, 15 teams, and then they'll have the 18-hole finale on Sunday. Look forward to having you out here if you can make it, and we look forward to being with you again next time on another edition of Inside Furman Athletics. For Matt Davidson and all of us at Furman, I'm Dan Scott, as always, saying God bless you and so long, everybody.